Week 7 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few defense DST units I have as sleepers this week. The first one, the Miami Dolphins. So Miami, I know they're a bad defense, but this week I'm just going off a matchup. And we know this Cleveland Brown offense isn't that good. Besides Quinshon Judkins, there's not really anyone on that offense you would trust for fantasy football. So this season, they've given up a lot of points, obviously, this Miami Dolphin team. But one thing I will give them, they still get to the quarterback. They'll get 2-3 sacks per game and at least 1 or 2 turnovers per game. So the last few weeks for Miami, Week 4 versus the Jets, 21 points allowed, 2 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries. Week 5 at Carolina, 27 points allowed, 3 sacks, an interception, a fumble recovery. And Week 6 versus the Chargers, 29 points allowed, a sack, a fumble recovery. So like I said, I know they're giving up anywhere from 24, 30 points per game range weekly is this Miami Dolphin team. But this week, a good matchup at the Browns. They give up the 7th most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. Dylan Gabriel, it's only his 3rd career start, and he looks like a quarterback so far where he's scared to stretch the field, and a lot of small routes and intermediate out routes, they have him passing and timing routes more than anything. So this week, I think the rookie can make a couple mistakes. I think this Dolphin pass rush could get to him a few times for a few sacks. I'm not saying they're going to go out there and put up huge numbers, but I think in deeper leagues as a sleeper option, Miami, they could get in that 7 to 10 point range. Next to Giants out there in 94% of fantasy leagues. I know this week not the greatest of matchups at the Denver Broncos. Don't give up a lot of fantasy points to DSTs, but this Giant team, they just came off a game where they shut down, for the most part, Philadelphia Eagles, especially in the second half. And this Giant team, if it's one thing they do get to the quarterback 2 or 3 times a game, a sack. They'll get a turnover or 2 per game as well. And the last couple weeks for this DST, Week 4 versus the Chargers, 18 points allowed, 2 sacks, 2 INTs. Week 5 in New Orleans, they didn't do anything, 20 points allowed. And then Week 6 versus Philly, like I said, 17 points allowed, 3 sacks, an interception, a fumble recovery. So this week at Denver, their offense last week looked flat versus the New York Jets was this Denver Bronco team. I know they could run the football effectively with J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey mixed in there for this Denver Bronco team. But I think New York, they could get to Bo Nix a couple times. Bo Nix, he's had a couple turnover-plagued ball games this season. And this Giant team now, they got confidence, obviously, after beating Philadelphia in easy fashion last week, where now they hope they could travel on the road and this defense could bring some pressure as well and get to Bo Nix. And the final DST I have as a sleeper is the Carolina Panthers. So the Panthers, they're not a good defense, but I'm going off a matchup and a decent streaming option at the New York Jets that give up the 5th most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. So the Jets are going to be down Garrett Wilson. There's a possibility as well that number 2 wide receiver Josh Reynolds doesn't play in this game, where he didn't practice to begin the week as well for this New York Jet team. And also Justin Fields last week, he looked like a deer in the headlights, where once they got a couple sacks on him, he kept holding on to the football way too long with Justin Fields, and he got sacked 9 times. So this week the Carolina Panthers, as a streaming option, I think could go out there and play a decent game at the New York Jets, where they could hold them in the mid-teens, low 20s, and possibly get some pressure and make plays on them in this ball game. So that's a few defense DST units I have as sleepers for Week 7 of the fantasy football season.